teams had to say about each other leading up to the Crucible match. So we're going to have a look at that.
They're a new team that has role skill, but I'm not sure they have the resolve it takes to be in the league yet. We many more matches under our belt in the HGC than they do. This gives us a lot of confidence going into the match. I think they're scared of Synergy because they're aggressive. If they pick at us for that reason, then they miscalculated.
We picked beGenius because Synergy gets a little bit wild in their drafts. Synergy is known for their pocket picks a lot, and they have some creative drafts on certain maps, and we wanted to not face that. And beGenius is more known to be that kind of standard team that likes to play, like, that goes along with the meta, and I think it suits us better to play against this kind of playstyle, and it's easier to prepare against. beGenius recently has been getting some momentum in the HGC matches. You could say that the other teams didn't really have to play 100% because they were already safe and didn't have to play the Crucible, but I still think it gave beGenius some momentum, and they can ride that momentum wave for them. We as individuals have been questioned a lot, and we finally want to prove that we are worthy of playing in the HGC.
Proof that they are worthy of playing in the HGC. That is what they are after here. And like we mentioned, there is a lot of caliber in this team, including the legendary BKB. Very experienced player. He's played for Team Liquid, he's played for Virtus Pro, but he didn't make it in the first set for the HGC qualifiers. So he's had to come all the way through the Open Division, and it took him quite a while to find a team that he felt comfortable with. He did swap to a couple teams throughout his journey, but this appears to be the one with players like Antihero to try and make it in.
Yeah, and Antihero is an interesting person to talk about as well. He plays some of the heroes in the Heroes of the Storm roster that do not see public acclaim as much. They're not as common to see, perhaps. Heroes like Chen, heroes like, well, what else?
Chen, Rexar, Alarex, like a lot of stuff that we will see sometimes for a lot of teams, but this is a case of, if we're on Dragonshire, there's a very high chance we could be seeing Chen. Let's find out if we are going to be on Dragonshire for our first map, heading over to the Battleground choices. It hasn't been banned, so it is available, but we're going to be starting off with Tomb of the Spider Queens, with the bans being Sky Temple and Abraxas Holdout, meaning there's a chance we could see Warhead today, Grubby.
Oh, Warhead Junction, definitely a bit of a different map. People that have just started playing Heroes of the Storm may not have as much experience with it, because it was initially not on the Battleground rotation for the ladder, but it has since been included. Warhead Junction is a giant map with very big global emphasis, and the importance of winning your 1v1s is important there, because help may be very far away. Antihero on a hero like Chen could be good on Warhead Junction as well. MVP Black with Rich, they were running Chen on Warhead, and then it's popular on Dragonshire. So let's see if this hero that pretty much no other team touches will be used here by Anti.
But we are starting off, of course, with Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is open to Chen. That bot lane, very helpful to strong solo laners. And of course, it is viable for some very solid barrel play, because there's a lot of really close corridors you can utilize quite well, even though the lanes can be very wide, especially the top lane. It can be quite hard to get a really good angle there. But of course, the beautiful throw pit, one of the most dangerous in Heroes of the Storm, I would say, outside of Sky Temple, is very viable for this kind of fun pick as well.
Yeah, the boss is quite a death trap on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Controlling it is usually not the first priority for people, because it's scary to even attempt to start that boss. Now, of course, we've got two teams to this one. beGenius themselves also have picks that they favor more so maybe than some other teams. We see a lot of Ragnaros picks in the beGenius draft. They occasionally try out Brightwing, even as a solo support. So this is definitely also something we don't see a lot anymore.
They're kind of the opposite of Synergy that we saw yesterday, where they do seem to favor a lot more to those late-game drafts. Even though Synergy yesterday, they attempted several late-game drafts, picking the Zebo twice. Just didn't really get to the late game with either, because Zealots were really good at ending the game early.
But that's the cool thing, right? When you prepare for a best of 7 like this, a qualifying match like this, you take your public persona, your table image, as it were, and you try to adapt it a bit. Like beGenius just said in the interview, if they think Synergy puts on the pressure early game and we don't, they've misjudged us.
Exactly, and like we said, this is a controversial decision, but We saw it justified there by Andy Hero. He thought that Synergy could get a little bit crazier in their draft, but we saw Zealots exploiting some of the drafting by Synergy quite a bit yesterday with some crazy good drafting, including a Cho'Gall comp which had the enemy banning out Tychus against them, which was always fun. Let's see if beGenius can prove Gangang wrong, or whether Gangang are going to be able to make it so that they've made the right choice. Maybe Europe will be the team that gets 2 open division teams into the main HGC.
The votes of the community are pretty much divided. Many industry professionals, pro gamers on pro teams, they have said that they think beGenius could have a pretty good chance to defend the status quo, maintain their seat here. Whereas in several votes, there is something like 60-40 for Team Gangan, 50-50 for either team.
For beGenius. They sort of bounce back and forth. Like, I believe yours came up 50-50 and mine came up 60-40, which is cool to see. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have a draft available to us. beGenius with the first ban here. Remember, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Wave Clear, late game heroes, all good names of the game. Solo laners, very strong as well. Controlling that bot lane can be a super big deal here.
Yeah, of course, it is definitely time now to let the games do the speaking. And of course, the first ban should not take long, because you pretty much have 9 maps and you can pretty much either be first pick or a first ban or not. So you can calculate all those permutations beforehand. That's why this is not taking a long time. Ariel opens up Cho'Gall draft. She opens up really strong 4-man draft. It's a logical ban. Gul'dan, one of the most powerful mages in the game right now, so no surprises there.
We saw him banned out every game except one by Synergy yesterday. But this time it is Gangang removing it. Even with Ariel gone, she is still Gul'dan, sorry, is still too scary. beGenius with the Malfurion first pick, Gangang letting their support go. Greymane, who didn't make it through the draft at all yesterday, he got banned a fair amount, but was never picked, so we're already seeing some different playstyles.
And there's 2 maps where Leoric has a higher than usual priority, as far as I know. Tomb of the Spider Queen and Dragonshire. That's because rotations and being deep in the lane is common. When you are deep in the lane and you want to soak experience, if someone is going to die, it might as well be Leoric, because he comes back pretty fast if you ever get caught. So he's pretty good at controlling those lanes.
Very late game already being set up for beGenius. That Nazebo going to have a very easy time stacking. The Stitches, on the other hand, late game hooking someone with Stitches and then dropping all that Nazebo damage onto them is the worst thing, because Stitches is one of those heroes who gets more value as the game goes on, because he always can get picks no matter what. But the longer the cooldown timer, you can stagger deaths from the enemy team using those hooks really nicely.
Exactly. Early game, getting a takedown is not even worth as much as getting an entire wave of experience, just 7 minions. But late game, it can be the difference between winning and losing. So Stitch is always a threat, and it puts a lot of mental pressure on your opponent.
A Gall ban. Okay, I like it. With Leoric already picked up and Greymane.
It makes sense, because these two are such good counters to Cho'Gall, Leoric, and specifically Greymane. So that would be an option for Team Gangan. They ban Ragnaros. They've seen the same Ragnaros predilection on beGenius's latest Pro Division games.
So, what are we going to see from Gangang? No Cho'Gall for them, so they can still go with a very high health tank. No Gall, at least. You can't exactly pick Cho without him. Just runs around as a full tank. Kael'thas coming in. We've seen it rise up quite a bit from most of the regions lately, and with an Anub'arak picked with it, that's one of the main counters to him now on their own side. So overall, very solid looking draft, but once again, we didn't see any Kael'thas at all yesterday.
Yeah, didn't we? I don't think so either.
We did.
Yeah,
no.
Very strong hero. You know, you can get a lot of regeneration globes here with Mana Addict so fast on Tomb of the Spider Queen, especially when you're winning. And I don't think that a hook would be a nice thing to go up against with Convection. I think it'll probably be Mana Addict.
Yeah, the extra shield to protect yourself. Like, the tiny heal is nice, but a big shield that protects you against that burst damage is just crazy. So I agree, that's probably what we could be seeing here.
Double warrior, double assassin. A great pair of warriors and assassins there for Gangan. beGenius now have to decide, are they going to go double frontline, or are they running a kind of Team Dignitas-esque Stitches support and triple damage, full on blazing forward with that damage, trying to get hook pickoffs.
We have seen a Tyrande rework recently. which I don't think we've seen in play quite a bit. We see Tyrael and Tychus, so a bit of tank shredding here against the double tank of Anubarak and Leoric can be helpful. And of course, Odin, great for sieging, great for pushing with those web weavers, and great for clearing them as well from range if you're on the back foot.
Now you have to worry about slam build Stitches, the burst of Tychus, the spread damage of Tychus, and the spread damage of Nazeebo. Rhaegar is the excellent choice. Kharazim would be too weak in healing, maybe for the primary target against Tychus, whereas well, some kind of sustained healer like Brightwing wouldn't have enough burst either.
Yeah.
Uther doesn't have enough for Nazeebo's spread damage, so it's the perfect combination. It's a balanced support, one of the most balanced support in Rhaegar.
So that is what we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen. So, looking at these drafts, what are you thinking?
I think for our upstarts here, the Open Division qualified team in first place, Team Gangan, they have, I think, what they want. The best ranged auto-attack assassin in Greymane. They have a mage and the best anti-mage in Anubarak. And then Leoric and Rhaegar is just sprinkling on the cake. I think they have a very strong team here, but you can never discount the power of either Tyrael or Stitches.
Yeah, both of them actually do have passive spell armor as well, I believe. So it can be a little bit more helpful against the Kael'thas.
Tyrael has 10% spell armor, and Stitches can take Dampen Magic, which protects him for 10% of the time against huge magic burst damage. So, yeah, definitely two anti-mage heroes here. Great against Kael'thas, not as good against Greymane.
Yes, Greymane, on the other hand, like you said, it's going to protect against his cocktail a bit, but if he's going to be able to engage, Stitch is one of the most highest health tanks in the game, which makes Cursed Bullet all the more appealing. And if not, Tychus, he's a little bit of a tankier assassin, but Nazeebo and Malfurion, at least, are made of paper mache and baby powder, so are very easy for Greymane if you wanted to go for the throat, for example, to get some pickoffs, assuming Tyrael isn't able to protect them.
Yeah. I think Team Gangan got everything they wanted, Thatcher, but at the same time we have that Nazeebo power. We speak about it often because it's a real thing. If Nazeebo gets level 16, and specifically level 20, he becomes an absolute powerhouse. And even the anti-mage capabilities of Anubarak will not withstand the flurry of spiders that will bite him to his death. The question is, can beGenius hold off long enough to get Stitches to level 16 where he gets Pulverize or Fishing Hook, and Nazeebo to 16 and 20.
I've never heard a group of spiders called a flurry before. That is a unique description.
I don't think it's the official name.
I don't know.
There's people that know all of these. Gaggle and a gang. And
I'm sure there is a name for a group of spiders. A brood. That sounds
possibly
about right.
A nest, I don't know.
Let us know also what you think about this event and what a group of spiders is called using the hashtag HGC. You can talk about the Crucible and let us know your thoughts. For now, though, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head straight into the game. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen, game number 1 between Gangang and beGenius. So, ladies and gentlemen, spawning on the left-hand side, it is going to be the HGC team, beGenius with Unstable on Malfurion, Danatan on the Tyrael, Arcane on the Tychus, Kerber on the Nazeebo, and it's going to be Tank for the win on the Stitches.
And on the right side, in the red, the Open Division qualified team, Team Gangan with Kronas on Rhaegar, BKB on Anubarak. We've got Antihero on Leoric, Raid Balls on Greymane, and Z3 on Kael'thas.
So I'm going to see them moving across the map to the middle. We have had the discussion about whether you should just all 5-man group in the center of the map quite a bit, because in theory, one of the teams should be weaker, and we are seeing both teams actually playing a little bit more cautious than we would sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. In theory, one is weaker, one is stronger. The weaker team should not have been doing it. They may not be aware of their odds, but 5-man brawls in the middle are never a good thing for one of the teams.
Yeah, one of the teams, like you said, one of the teams should in theory be weaker. We've been over this in our Open Division cast so often, which you can catch on Grubby's stream after the mid-season brawl, when we will be back and doing this all over again, and it will be wonderful. So, level 1, you were correct. Mana Addict, very nice to see. Cocktail talent for Greymane, and Lightning Bonds, probably the most popular talent on level 1 for Rhaegar these days.
Gives him insane wave clear, helps with the damage, and it's against 2 frontliners in Tyrael and Stitches, both of who picked up their damage talent. Purge Evil on Tyrael, more damage with Smite against heroes, and the Slam build Stitches. The question is, oh, nice dodge there on the Gravity Lapse. short burrow charge.
Very nicely done indeed. So, we're going to see very little hyper aggression, at least for the start here. Both teams have crazy wave clears, so they're not going to be looking for picks all the time. Just if they can get the hook, like we saw the attempt there. Malfurion very trusting on tank for the win there. Was looking to Unstable looking to drop the root to set up after the hook.
But I wonder if that trust is deserved. Okay, maps, they keep the same architecture. This map is the same as the hundreds of times as they practiced it. The waves met pretty much in the middle, and the hook, while it was good aim, fell short of the mark. And this is a little bit concerning to me because you can exactly look at where you're standing on the terrain and where the opponent's wave is meeting to know roughly where someone is going to be. He could have expected Rhaegar to step forward for pretty much no reason outside of the wave, but that didn't happen. So it shows a little bit of maybe like nerves or maybe like not 100% comfortability on Stitches as maybe, for example, a JPL and Dignitas might be showing.
But the Stitches can still work out in the late game. Sometimes it can take a little bit to warm up, get those hooks down.
You know, that might show that he's going for fishing hook. I don't think so.
It might, where he's so used to playing for the extra range. Oh, Araken getting chased down. BKB should be able to pick this up. He doesn't, but the cocktail does. Rainbow's trapped in the zombie wall, getting kind of burned down. Just out of range.
One more tick and he would have been down. And it would have been ironic because he tried to peel for Tychus, who gave him the kiss of death in the form of a chain bomb.
There was also the fact that it was the zombie wall that procced the cocktail that got the final hit. So lots of
talk about toxic relationships.
It is not mistakes, guys. These are just accidents that happen in the games. He was absolutely doing something to try and save his teammate, but Greymane timed that cocktail very nicely. Well played there. So Kronaz just dropping a lightning bolt onto Antihero, giving him some extra damage onto that tower as he rotates back to the mid lane. This is something we see a lot more often, the support rotating in all three lanes as opposed to just top and mid lane as we used to see a couple months ago.
Yeah, it helps a lot. You know, your solo laner would also like healing from time to time, especially if they lack the self-healing capabilities. Tyrael did not pick up Regeneration Master. Now, the same amount of gems pretty much in possession by both teams here. 3 more for Team Gangan because they picked up 3 gems from the takedown. Getting kills is a valid way to boost your gem count early on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And getting 1 or 2, giving you 3 to 6 extra gems, may just be the difference to get that first turn in. First turn in roughly has 60% chance to win. It's, you know, the exact cost cannot be determined, of course, but it's very strong mechanic.
By Nazebo, tank for the win. Gonna be able to pick up all the gems. That is quite nice. So recovered at least a little, but that is unfortunate. Losing another hero there. Currently 2 kills to 0 in favor of Gangang. And I want to know your opinion on Stitches not going for the Damper Magic, going for the slam build. Against full cocktail, Kael'thas.
Anytime when you have Tyrael on your team, speccing more as a damage dealer, like a glass cannon, full damage, no defense, can seem like a valid strategy because Sanctification and Shields offer extra ways to defend your front line. They already have 2 warriors, so they want to just get a bit more damage, a bit more wave clear. I think it makes sense.
Works out for, in this case, he's even gone for the extra poison damage to clear out even better. And of course, team fight damage, if he goes for the extra radius on that arc, is going to get pretty crazy. I would also like to express my disappointment at the fact that these players are going with the regular base horse in some scenarios.
I think there's a lot of humility to be had in the flat horse.
But
and courage.
We're in Heroes 2.0. we like the beautiful things that Blizzard provides us with in terms of skins and mounts. So top fort already taken down thanks to this Web Weaver. But Web Weaver has been kind of wrecked by Tychus. He was able to clear that up nice and easy, but the fort did take some serious damage, so that is prepared for either a next turn in or a aggressive push by Gangang, who are currently attempting to make a move onto bot lane. But yeah, the cleanse getting tagged for the win out.
I have a theory. Maybe they keep all their loot chests and they're well into the 200, 300, 400 loot chests by now, and they reward themselves with opening them if they win the Crucible.
Ooh.
Maybe they don't have any mounts
I'm
yet.
liking that. That's clever. Motivation.
Yeah.
I know, motivate me. So many chests.
Team captain is like, don't open your chest. Only if we win the Crucible. All or nothing. You want to get that new Lily announcer?
You've gotta win
Crucible.
for it. You gotta win that best of 7. Remind you guys, this is a best of 7. One of the first times we really see that in the Western scene, so we are excited for it. We saw a 6-game series in America yesterday, closest we've had to a full 7, which was super fun. Heroics, by the way, available for Team Gangang with a 2-level lead with the Ancestral Healing Phoenix, the Cocoon, Cursed Bullet, and Entomb.
Now, oftentimes you'll have teams, maybe in ladder games, where people hold on to a lot of gems, and they get antsy and nervous, and they say, we need to turn in. And while the need may be there, the possibility may not be. Very wisely, beGenius is biding their time.
Yep.
They say, we do not try to sneak off and pay. Let's say, even if they succeeded, they get the turn in, they get the web weavers, they will still feel uncomfortable to push alongside it, because they do not yet have their heroics. First, you must make the map a hospitable place to be, and then you invite your friends, the spiders, the arachnids, to push alongside with them. So, smart by beGenius, biding their time. They will get level 10 momentarily, and then we should see some kind of pushback.
And the fact is, they have a composition that allows them to be passive. They have stitches. So the situation is, the second the enemy team starts retreating, they can try and grab someone, and that can be their key to regain control, get that level back to give themselves heroics. For now, though, like we said, we're seeing Gangang just completely dominating the map control right now. Here are the heroics.
It's got to be Butchered Bile. You could think we're behind.
Gorge
Maybe
would
we
be
get Gorge.
lovely, but
If you go Gorge and they cast Cocoon on, oh, this is
oh, it is! Kirby's upset.
if you go for Gorge and they Cocoon the Stitches, he will immediately disgorge his target. So it will pop out because stasis
I forgot about
effects.
that. Yeah. Well, is Cocoon a stasis technically?
Yeah,
You still get cooldowns in it.
Yeah, but it will still disgorge.
Yeah.
Anytime Stitches enters a vehicle, he cannot have a gorge target like Medivac, Dragon Knight, Cocoon.
Wow, that is an excellent point. We'll see if they're able to react to that in time. But
we'll see if that becomes a thing, because Tyrael and Malf are the primary targets for Cocoon, whereas Tychus is the primary Cocoon breaker, so these 3 are more likely targets than Stitches.
It puts a lot of pressure onto BKB to make sure that he's dropping that Cocoon on the right target, whether he absolutely has to drop it on Stitches to save an ally, or whether it is better to drop it on Malfurion to prevent that Twilight Dream.
Yeah, exactly. Sanctification, Twilight Dream, they're all valid targets to deny. Someone casts Odin, you wait till it pops, and then you cast Cocoon to shave off a lot of that timer and that threat.
Yeah. I've been informed, by the way, a cluster of spiders.
A cluster of spiders, of course. Okay.
Indeed. So, that's going to be cool.
Actually, I think that's the name of his ability, Spider Cluster.
Might be, yeah, that makes sense. Well, we currently have a cluster of spiders on its way in all 3 lanes as Gangang were able to get another turn in. And they're now using that to push the lanes as aggressively as possible. Mostly on bot lane, leaving top lane to push itself. Zebo is dealing with mid lane, but he has to stay near his team in case Gangang decide to go super all in on this.
Pretty slow-paced game, kind of a steady, grinding-out game by Team Gangan, where they haven't given any opportunities to beGenius to really get taken out. Mind the positioning. Anti-Hero and Anubarak make sure that they are always in front of their more squishy targets. Gangan's positioning is good, and while it may not be exciting per se to see never a hook on a Kel'Thas, it is absolutely by design by Team Gangan. They are not giving...
I heard the sound.
They are giving opportunities, apparently. Greymane nearly got hooked, but I do not think it would have ended up in his death. It is a very safe, good gameplay by Gangan.
Yeah, they're hovering around the area, not starting it. They're hovering around, they're not showing on the map, which makes everyone a bit wondering where they are. They've baited people in. beGenius no longer near their base like they like to be. The Cocoon has been dropped onto Malfurion. Sank, saving Stitches, who drops the Gorge, but he's bringing his death with him. Twilight Dream is dropped. Greymane able to turn it round. It's a massacre. 2 deaths going over to 2 kills going over to Gangang, making the final count 4-0 as they push in for their first fort of the game.
Stitches, not one of the most clean transportation services, but Greymane being a Worgen doesn't mind too much.
No, he can just wash up, it's all good. But yeah, he was transported there. The Cocoon was beautiful by BKB here. The Sanctification as well, though, in response was nice. But it was a nice trap. They set up in the right position, and it wasn't so much a, we're going to hope they walk into the boss pit thinking we're doing it. It was a, just move them away from their base. as long as they're not near their towers, we have a good chance of getting someone because they have the engage potential with the Anubarak.
Exactly. He's got that bonus range as well at level 4, BKB, that we saw as well coming out from Mopsio on Team Zealots yesterday. The further engage potential. Diablo players are already picking this, the extra range. It is so strong because that warrior now represents a zone of influence that you may not tread without grave peril to your own survivability, and beGenius is feeling that. They were once again in a place where the pro team is banking off of a slow late game where Nazeebo finally comes into it, but we're starting to see that these upstarts, they're not allowing the game to go in such a way where they say, okay, let's just have a gentleman's agreement to give each other half of the map.
Okay, no attack before 10 minutes, right?
Yep, no rush.
Let's build up.
No rush 15 minutes, not a thing.
Yeah. Instead, they are just playing super aggressively, and with that, they have level 16, while their opponents have only really just hit level 13. But that level 13 gives both Nazeebo and Malfurion Ice Block, and that's going to be a big deal. With that 16 advantage, though, it is a boss attempt. Danatan will see it, but what can he do about it? Incendiary Elixir is complete here, as we can see for Greymane, which will help if we do see a fight here, but this is not a fight. This is just Tyrael trying to make it look like there's a fight while there's a turn in.
Yeah.
It is. They're going to get the boss, and they're going to try and get Tyrael. Sank is available here. Can they make something out of it? Knock up. Huge damage. He doesn't even get the Sank. The stun lock is too good. Nicely done, Gangang, and that's a lot of gems lost as well.
And you don't think you're in the threat radius. You are Tyrael, you've got Sanct, you've got a Druid's Might, you throw your sword, you scout, you throw it again. Now, this is a doubtful move. Do you really need confirmation of the state of progress?
No, you know they're doing it.
Yeah, but still, you don't think, maybe they can't engage on me. But guess what? Cocoon is a thing. Now, Entomb, whoa! Cleanse through the walls!
The cleanse was good. Ancestral on Zay3, keeping him alive. They're able to get another keep here, and now they are pulling back to deal with the Web Weavers, because while Tyrael was dying, we did see beGenius able to get the turn in. So now we are seeing Gang having to pull back and deal with this, but that's still 2 lanes with keeps down already. 2 lanes of catapults, which are actually going to be able to help defend against the Web Weaver in the mid lane.
Now, all the turn-in did was remove some gems that they would have maybe otherwise lost as well. Look at Tyrael. And to get 2 towers here, and to kind of get a deep push, get a little bit of vision advantage. And they're using that. Look at this, beGenius, they're trying to turn this around. They know they can no longer sit passively. As 2 lanes are getting pushed in with catapults. They try to search the opportunity, but Gangan isn't giving it to them.
They're not. They're playing so passively. And here's the question. Do you, as Stitches, go for Fishing Hook anyway? You've gone for a full slam build, but that's not working for you. They need the opportunity to potentially pick someone to give themselves a chance to get back in this. So do they go for that, or do they continue with this commitment? Oh, hang on. Won't matter if he's dead. Down goes
and will they
Stitchin.
reach level 16?
Will they reach 16? They're only 15. There's the Cocoon. The Spiders will follow BKB. Malfurion is absolutely destroyed. And we are seeing Team Gangang moving in. Are they going to take the keep? Yes, they are. They're not going for core yet. If spawn timers are still too low, they're instead going to take down the keep and put themselves in a great position to win this. They actually have enough for a turn-in. So everything's in their field now.
Now, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, maybe. But let's say if beGenius loses this.
Yep.
They may just look at this and say, okay, how many hooks have we landed? How many hooks have resulted in a pick-off? How good was the warrior positioning? The counter-engage of Gorge and Hook with Entomb and with Burrow Charge and Cocoon. You know, maybe our best laid out plans weren't good enough. Let's not rely on this anymore, and let's try to kind of adapt the meta here that Team Gangan is showing. That could still be a thing. They may get that realization in Game 2, they may get it in Game 4, but it's not working out what they've got running here. It's a very gentlemanly composition, and Gangan is just, taking it away from them.
So, Web Weavers on the way for Gangang. Here is
16.
level 16.
And
They're on
your
even
question,
talent, and no, they don't.
Normally I would say Hook to come back from behind, but now they need the slam, cooldown damage
to clear.
Yeah, they need to clear.
Let's see if they can. All 3 lanes, no keeps. There's the hook, there's the gorge, but he's in the entomb. Stitches getting focused. Ancestral lands on Leo, and Stitches is trying to get out. The Phoenix finishes him off, though. The Web Weavers have arrived on the core, but they're taking some damage. Tiger's doing some great clear, but the Cocoon is completely isolated. Serial here, and the core does drop, and that is GG. Team Gangang taking game number 1.
And I do not believe I'm indulging in savagery when I say it was not even close.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
3.5 levels lead, 6 forts versus 0. This was a thorough beating, and Team Gangan is the victor here, 1-0.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board for beGenius, mayhaps.
The drawing board. They need to work out their drafting to try and find out a way to deal with this. Like, it looked like a decent draft, but like you said, they really didn't land the hooks they needed. And when they did, it was hook, got, oh, I'm in entomb. I can't go anywhere with this.
Right, but you can even theory craft that. If you go for the hook and gorge, what about entomb? What about burrow charge? Have you thought about cocoon? Have you thought about impale, counter engage? You've got these 2 strong warrior engaged against a warrior that's designed to land a hook and pick that target off fast and to prevent the rest from following up. But that follow-up is absolutely there.
Well, we're going to see if beGenius can redo their draft when we come back from